So I was pulled into this whole endeavor as a consultant to talk about the medicine and physiological challenges that our musicians are going to experience during this great adventure to the moon. Part of their lung capacity, their dexterity, that's very unique, that we're going to have to design specific exercise programs to make sure that we are able to maintain them during the journey, but also rehabilitate them once they return so that they can maintain their elite performing ability even once returning from this great adventure. Our musicians are going to find themselves in tight quarters with the same people for long durations during some periods of very, very high stress, other periods of absolute nothingness and boredom. One of my colleagues will go into that, and that's their expertise. We've teamed up with Ironstone CrossFit here locally in Halifax to help tailor some exercises focusing on their breathing, their dexterity, their overall physique.
Pour me préparer à ce grand voyage dans l'espace, je m'entraîne ici à CrossFit Ironstone avec une équipe d'entraîneurs et je consulte également des docteurs pour m'assurer que je suis vraiment en forme et que je suis en bonne santé mentale. Et alors, nous faisons des entraînements d'intervalles, des levées de poids et haltères.
Hi, my name's Keith Taylor and I'm a mathematician at Dalhousie University. I've been asked to figure out how to fit the instruments of a group of musicians into a SpaceX storage unit. The storage unit holds 43 cubic feet. Now this is not an easy problem because the instruments come in cases of all different size and shape. So my first thought is I'll take these instrument cases, seal them with plastic wrap, and submerge them in the big water tank over at the Aquatron at Dalhousie University. If they displace more than 43 cubic feet of water, then I know right away that there's too many musicians and some of them will have to be cut.
Ever since I was a kid, I've been really interested in astronomy, and so for me, being involved with providing food for a trip to the moon is absolutely fabulous. I'm really excited about it. We have selected pea shoots as the food of choice to go to the moon. The reason for that is you can grow a super nutritious, healthy salad green in just 7 days. And you can grow it in a natural substrate made of peat moss and so forth. And the pea shoots form a dense root mat, which you can see here, which ties everything together so that the particles of potting soil that these pea shoots are growing into don't go floating all over the inside of the spacecraft in microgravity, which would definitely be a bad scene. There's actually a lot of light out in space. It's not dark, but the light only comes through the side of the spacecraft, through any windows in the side of the spacecraft that are facing toward the sun. And because we don't know how the spacecraft will be oriented at all times, we have provided some supplemental light. This is the latest technology in LED plant lights. It puts out the optimum wavelengths of light for the growth of plants, which is blue wavelengths and red wavelengths, which together give kind of a purple color. And the power consumption on these is very small in relation to the amount of light they put out. So in a spacecraft, we only have a finite amount of electric power, so energy efficiency is actually really important. And this is the kind of light that we have selected to grow the pea shoots.
Hello, my name's Brian Keating. and I'm a tour guide. I've been taking people into some of the wildest areas on planet Earth for 4 decades now. There's nothing that I like more than taking people into these remote landscapes, like where I was last month in the Antarctic, for instance, places that are otherworldly, to give people an idea of how incredibly beautiful planet Earth is and how remarkable and harmonious nature can be.
You know, I think musicians have a chance of doing very well in space because they're creative thinkers. They can think around corners. They can think in a dimension that most people can't. And actually, when you think about it, musicians are kind of like wild cats. They've got the ability to work around problems and work around issues to try to figure out how to take down their prey. And in this case, they're going to a part of our whole spatial environment that is going to present lots of opportunities for creative problem solving.
Hi, I'm Silver Donald Cameron. I'm an author, and I've been asked to recommend a few books that the musicians from inner space might take with them on their voyage to outer space. Well, as it happens, I'm just publishing my 20th book in 2020, and if it's out by the time the moonshot takes place, it would of course be my first recommendation. It's called Blood in the Water, a true story of revenge in the Maritimes, and it's the story of a killing that took place in a fishing village in Cape Breton Island in 2013. An interesting story because it turns out it's like going into a house of mirrors. The perpetrators turn out to be victims, the victims turn out to be perpetrators, the community is firmly sympathetic to both the person killed and the people who did the killing. So a fascinating story, I think, and I hope it's been told in a book that will do it justice. It's called Blood in the Water, and it's by Silver Donald Cameron. Now, my second suggestion is a book called You Are Stardust by Ellen Kelsey. It's a children's book, and it starts from the point that everything in the universe has really evolved from the dust that was left after the Big Bang, including us. So we are all stardust, and what we see around us is stardust, and this book gives you a lovely sort of glimpse into where we came from and to the magic of wonder of the universe in which we find ourselves. So that's You Are Stardust by Ellen Kelsey. My third suggestion is also a children's book. It's The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, an old book now, published in the 1930s, but it's about a mole who has lived his entire life underground, and then one spring day gets a whiff of the air up above and goes out and discovers this whole new world that's full of birds and bees and flowers and all kinds of magical things. It smells terrific, and he heads off to explore it, and the whole book is what happens to the mole after he heads out to look at this brand new world up above. So that's The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. My fourth suggestion comes from the fact that I suspect when the musicians come back, they'll want to share their experience, and they may very well want to write about it. And so my fourth suggestion is the best book on memoir that I've ever seen, and it's written by a wonderful writer named Marjorie Simmons, who happens to be my wife. She has just published this book. It's just hit the bookshelves. It's called Memoir, Conversations in Craft. It includes conversations with a number of leading memoirists, and it's a great guide for writing a memoir. So that would be my fourth suggestion. So once again, those are the 4 suggestions. I'm Silver Donald Cameron. I'm an author. I'm also the host and narrator of thegreeninterview.com, and I'm the Farley Mowat Chair at Cape Breton University. Bon voyage.